I'm Cecilie Dissing. I'm Miss Earth Denmark 2021, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Hello, everyone. It's Adrian from the Pageant Project with you. I am here with my very special guest, Miss Earth Denmark, Cecilie. I can't quite say her name the way she said it. I'm going to say Cecilie Dissing. Cecilie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have hot tea and I'm ready to spill it.
Dear me. You say your tea rather than coffee?
Yeah, actually, I can't, I'm not allergic, but I can't handle caffeine very much. So I'm only drinking light teas. And this is evening here in Denmark, so coffee wouldn't be good anyway.
You sound like you have, I have to say, you always sound like you have so much energy. I don't think that drinking coffee would probably be a good idea for you. You'd be bouncing off the walls.
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be. When I was younger, I always ate we had these small sugar cubes from grapes. It's like grape sugar, and you usually took it when I was a gymnast, an elite gymnast, so we always ate them to keep energy on during shows and so on.
Okay.
And I think it wasn't probably a good idea for me having them anyway. Because of my ADHD, I was very hyper all the time.
Well, it would help you in your gymnastics, I guess, when you're doing tumbling or something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely just running around.
You are my final Miss Earth 2021 interview. It's been a ride. I think you're number 7 or 8. Honestly, I can't remember. I've had the Miss Earth theme song, Woman of the Earth. I've had that stuck in my head. Not that it's a bad song, but it's the other day I was going for a walk. I was like, oh my God, I have the Miss Earth song stuck in my head. I know it's been a crazy time for you guys. It's been a few weeks. How has the journey been for you?
Well, actually, what you just mentioned about the song, I really are just getting flashbacks from my time with Mikola. Mikola and I have become very good friends. And she's all the time that song, it's on my brain all the time. And now I hate to hear it because you're in it and I have to watch it every time. It's traumatizing all over again because she loves it. She's heard it so much. She watched everything over and over. And now she's just yeah, that's it. I might love it, but that's it.
I feel for her. I mean, because you guys have been on live so much, and you've submitted your videos, you've seen your videos, and they're always playing that song in the background. Then I was judging actually when we had your video come on, the dancing one, and the whole time just in the background it's that song. So after 3 or 4 hours, you just can't get it out of your head. That video. Let's start by looking at that video, because I've got it over here. So I'm going to show everyone at home. If you haven't seen it, this was... Cecilie, do you want to give people a little bit of the background before I show it, or do you...
I would love to. So because of my ADHD and my Asperger's, I have had some trouble starting to figure out who I was within these diagnoses. And I was diagnosed as 18-year-old. So it was a bit confusing having put a label in your forehead and be you're wrong now. And I was I'm not wrong. I'm not different. I might be different, but I'm not, this isn't wrong. How can I express this through something that is valuable to other people? So in another competition, I was actually doing these dances and I was this is what I have to do. I'm good at this. This makes it gets all my feelings out of my body and it gets it all out there for people to see. This is how I can visualize how it is struggling with mental disorders. So it was for awareness about ADHD and the 2 out of 3 girls with ADHD that never get diagnosed. So, yeah.
Okay, and how do you pronounce the title of the film? It says here it's Medicine.
Medicine.
Medicine. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought it was a French one. All
No.
right, I'm going
English.
to show people the video. I will mute myself and mute you just whilst we're watching the video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. All right. So here it is. Let's blow that up full screen. All right, here we go.
Pick it all up, and start again. You've got a second chance, you could go home, escape it all, it's just irrelevant. It's just medicine. It's just medicine. You could still be what you want to, what you said you were when I met you. You've got a warm heart, you've got a beautiful brain, but it's disintegrating from all the medicine. You could still be what you want to be, what you said you were when you met me.
I was judging that competition, the dancing competition, and I'm not a dancer by any means, so I'm not sure why Miss Earth decided to get me into that section. But I take the scoring, the judging very seriously. I want to make sure that I feel that I give the person who deserves the highest marks the highest marks. And I have to say now that it's over, I suppose I can say Your one was the only one that I gave full marks to, because I felt that it wasn't, let's just judge which one is most difficult, although yours certainly was difficult. Yours really, I felt, told a story, and I think I connected with it even before I knew it was about mental health. So when you look at that now, because I could see you in the background, even looking at it, you're still sort of moving to it. How does it feel, even just watching it now?
I know that choreography to the core of my bone. This was so heartfelt for me to develop this choreography. I did it with my old dance teacher, and she has also mental illnesses. So developing the whole process of developing this piece was so heartfelt, and I cannot explain how many times I've been crying doing this dance. Like, even now, every time I watch it, I'm so proud of it, because this dance is more than just a dance for me. This is a work that I can connect to other people, that is other than words. It's something that is completely different from reading a book and reading words. This is something that I'm like grabbing people and like pull them in and see, like, this is how it feels to fight against your own body. And it's such a relief to finally be able to portray something that is so hard to understand for other people. So it's it's one of my proudest moments ever. I have to be honest.
What was the symbolism of you had look like a cuff and a rope between your two hands. What was was there any specific symbolism for that?
Well, the whole music, the music piece were actually a song that one of my best friends sent to me. And he was like, hey, this one, I know you've just been diagnosed. This is, I just feel there is something about this song. You need to listen to it. And I was like, this is it. This is my feelings. This is everything. And as the song is also called Medicine. It's about this fight where society is trying to put you up to fight with your own body because you have to come back to some or apply to society's barriers they put up and the society's systems that is like supposedly what people are supposed to fit into. So the handcuffs were not only the diagnosis itself, it was the idea of being told that just because you have a diagnosis, you're wrong and you should like contain it and like melt it down and like suppress it. And this was about ripping yourself free from that fight with your own body and actually deliver yourself in a way that is most beneficial for you.
Can you just give us an idea how long it takes to create a dance like that? I mean, you've got to come up with the choreography, the costume, and then the filming. It wasn't just, put a camera down and just film it. Obviously, the camera is moving as well, so that takes some work. How long did it take roughly from beginning to end?
Luckily, at that time, I had a lot more time on my hands than I really had. And I've been working with this choreographer for a few years, and she knew me so well. She knew my brain. It was not hard to get the choreography. It was not hard at all. I think we were like practicing only 3 days because it was like, It was such an immense feeling, and it was so natural for my body to just like let go in all the different pieces of it. It was just the natural way for my body to go. It was like I already knew this. I already knew the choreography in kind of way without actually having it done before. So I think it was only like a month like leading up to the filming of this piece. The like actual videographer behind it, we were only using like 2-3 hours underneath this bridge where the location is. But I was black, blue, and bleeding everywhere. I don't know if you recognize the rocks.
No, I was going to ask because there's one part where you literally throw yourself face first onto the ground and you make it look very graceful. But I'm just going, that must really hurt because you kind of go knee first and then the whole thing. Like, it must have hurt, right?
Absolutely. It was so painful. And I'm actually right now looking for if I have the pictures still, because I had so many pictures of my knees. I was like bleeding. My knees were bleeding. My hands were bleeding. But I was like, I'm going to do everything for this dance because this is it. It has to look painful because that's what it is. And if I hadn't done it like 100% completely like I did, there wouldn't have been the feeling in it as I wished it to be. That was important for me to know that it might hurt right now, but again, it's been giving me so much joy from that point on to actually express it.
I have a friend who competed in another pageant and she did a dance for her talent and she filmed her dance in a car park. And she's a rhythmic gymnast. So, with the ball, the clubs, the ribbon. Yeah. And she was throwing herself around a little bit. I don't think quite as much as you, but probably about the same. And then she showed us photos of what her knees and her shins looked like afterwards. And it looked like she'd been run over by a bus. It was terrible. It was not just a bruise. It was black bruises, blue bruises, purple bruises. There was blood
Yellow,
going down her
every
knee.
color.
You turn every color of the rainbow. I guess it's called suffering for your art, perhaps.
Definitely. I can only relate to that. Definitely, 100%. But it's like there's a pain in everything you do. And when you can invest so much, it gives you so much relief. It's the same like as actually working out, because you're like deconstructing your muscle cells to rebuild them to grow stronger. That's what you're doing right there when you're throwing yourself. Like, don't do it too much, but like that's the same thing. It feels like the same thing. There's so much adrenaline. There's so much oxytocin being like released in your body because it's such a relief. It's really therapeutic if you like rely to that kind of stuff.
I only wish that I could dance. Maybe if I could dance, I could get some emotions out. I mean, do you think that? I'm curious because, as I said, I'm not a dancer, but I know that certain people's brains work very differently. Obviously, you have synaesthesia, so physically something actually works a bit differently. Do you think you could? Can you still remember the choreography now? I mean, I'm not saying do it now, but do you think like you could you could do that again now? Is it in your brain? Is it in your body?
Like, yeah. I was sitting like holding myself. I didn't know if you could see me actually a bit behind the scenes.
I could.
Because I was sitting like, oh, I remember this. Because when I was dancing, it's not in contemporary dance. It's very important that you have your full body and mind within it. It's not only like smiling and doing stuff.
Yeah.
So every time I was throwing myself, if you had heard the sound I was making. When he was actually filming me, I was like, and like throwing myself and actually like really expressing to get those views and get those points. So yeah, it wouldn't have sounded really nice.
I think I prefer the music that you put to it probably to the sounds you would have been making. Do you have any plans to make something like that again? Because as you said, you're so proud of it and that can just sort of stay there and people can watch it for years to come. Any plans to do something like that again?
Well, dancing has always been a big part of my life, but as I evolved, I had less and less time for it, and to not do it and hurt yourself like that, like physically. Like I was an elite dancer, and like in a very short term, studied at our Royal Academy in Odense. But I realized that my body just wasn't built for it because I like hurt myself all the time and got like different difficulties with my joints and my knees. So I was like, okay, I have to express myself in another way. How can I do that? And that actually evolved into visualization of different things, which is also what led to what my company actually is now, is where it started with like the mental disorders visualization in dance. So along the way, I realized that I wanted to work with like mental disorders in like some kind of way that isn't like typical. So I started to create visualizations. I actually think I have some of it right here. This is like a magazine I produced where I was like I was visualizing different mental disorders, and like this one is schizophrenia.
Oh wow!
If you're doing like that, I work with an amazing photographer. His name is Lars Fink. I've worked with him so many times, and he just knew my brain. He knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
This is ADHD. Oh, what?
Yep, we can see
Trying
it.
not to get the light to catch it. And one of my like greatest pieces was very inspired by my mother, who has depression. And this is the piece I made like for her.
Oh wow.
When she saw it the first time, she cried, and I almost did too. Because then I knew like the way she felt, and she felt so seen. And I was like, I hit the right mark. I hit everything correctly here. because she felt so empowered by it. Not like cried sadness, but so empowered to see beauty
Yeah.
in something that she's been told is wrong. And of course, depression isn't a nice thing at all. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a beauty in pain, and like being able to see it is very empowering for her. So I was like, I was very proud of that moment.
As you should be. Well, sorry, I dropped out.
Sorry.
I'm back.
Oh, I was like,
It's okay.
you okay?
Yeah, it's very early here in Australia, so I don't think my computer has quite woken up. What I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted was, tell me more about your company, that your company and the magazine.
Okay, so in my final exam for my education, we were given the freedom to make up our own project. So I knew I wanted to do something with the visualization of different mental disabilities. And actually, I thought I was going to make it into a magazine that would be like out on the street, and I still hope to be doing that. But I realized I had to start somewhere else. So I started my own company called Misfit Media DK, where it's all the gifts I have that I want to like. I'm very creative, so being able to live off that was very big for me to realize. The whole idea behind the company is not just me doing my thing. It's actually scouting talents like me who have mental disabilities and cannot work in a 9-to-5 job, maybe, to show them how to actually evolve themselves and like develop their full potential. So like me, I didn't work very well in a 9-to-5 job. I worked best working all hours and waking up super early and working like on different projects throughout the day and 10 different things every week. So like realizing and developing a strategy for me to optimize that way of working and also teaching other individuals like me to do that is my full goal. That is what I hope to like develop into. I have a few talents already that I'm like developing and like slowly pushing out there. But with these individuals, it's very important that you are very aware of how you're introducing them into society again and how you're introducing them into the work environments. So it's a process.
It does take a high degree, I think, of sensitivity and empathy. I mean, you with ADHD and Asperger's, I mean, you would certainly know what it's like to be diagnosed and to maybe not be told that you're wrong, but certainly to feel like something is wrong with you. What are your plans with the company? It sounds fascinating to me. I mean, I work for myself, and I feel I work much better for myself than someone else. One of my friends of mine was saying, "Oh, do you want a job? I can offer you a job." And I was like, I don't really work that well for other people, especially 9 to 5. You want me to sit behind a desk and no creativity, because I don't dance. But I don't dance, so I thought, I'm not creative. I can't draw. But then I realized, well, I play music. That's creative. And then all the stuff that I do with pageantry, a lot of that's very creative. So I completely understand where you're coming from. But with your company, what's your sort of, not 10 years, but like 1 year, 2 years down the track, what would you have liked to have accomplished?
Don't worry, I already have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and a 15-year plan. It's about visualization, because that's how you manifest something. So in 5 years, I will have the magazine out as well. And I will have a small clientele of like individuals where I know, okay, I know how to input them in a certain project and so on. So I can freelance them and assist them all the way. It will be my, that is the 10-year plan, is that I have like a company build up that can have different talents included in this strategy, which we can source to different companies who's looking for a freelancer for very specific things. The idea behind it is actually that a lot of individuals like me have very specific talents that is not regularly used as a full-time job in some companies, but they can like excel at those things. So finding that specific thing for a specific job or a specific project is like, that's the golden star we're looking for. So actually managing to put them in the situation and putting them out there and developing through these talents is the goal. So 5 year, we want the magazine out so people can see it. 10 year, we want to, I say we, it's me.
The royal we.
I want.
The queen, the royal we.
It's me and all my different personalities. I promise you that.
I know what that's like. Yeah.
No, in 10 years, I want actually a clientele or like a crew of talents where I know these their difficulties, so I can actually regulate on how they will interfere in different project developments. And then in 15 years, I wanted to be developed into a nonprofit organization where we are developing virtual reality, also with like pressure point jackets to actually give like the full sensitivity of the different diagnoses. So it's for educational purposes. So first off, education for the individuals and the people around the individuals. 10 years, we want to get these resources from these individuals. These individuals are not just people, they're like a reliable resource and they can do so great things. So putting them into action. And then at the end, it's like implementing this greater education for people all around to actually experience it on their own body. So, yeah.
Have you thought about releasing a book at all? I mean, you've got the magazine. It looks amazing. Have you thought about turning it into a book?
I actually started that way. My teacher at my exam, she was like, I don't think she liked me before that. I don't think she did. Okay. I have to be honest, because she was never impressed by anything I did. At my exam, she was almost crying. I was like, what is happening? And the other judge, censor, it's called in Denmark.
Yeah.
He was like, are you aware what you did right there? Everything you have in this thing, you should write it in a book. You should make a book out of it. Your thoughts, your process, it's exceptional. The way you think is really something different. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that. And I started doing it. And then I was like, but how and when and how? It was so overwhelming for me to actually release a book that is just my thoughts, because I always felt like my thoughts were very intricate and very difficult to understand. So believing that this is something that is easy for another person to read, and I have to make it easy for another person to read, was the difficulty of mine. So I actually started, and then I thought that I could do better by visualizing it.
I don't mean when I say a book, because I've released books in the past through Amazon. I don't mean actually writing out your thoughts. I mean doing something exactly like what you just shown me. Lots of photos, beautiful photos in color, and actually turning that into a book, because then everyone around the world would be able to look. I mean, I want to look at that, but I can't look at it because you've got it over in Denmark. And I'm over here in Sydney, Australia. But what I mean is, we'll talk about this maybe later, because I resonate so much with, it's weird the way this goes, because I watched we seen your dance, and I watched the dance, and I was immediately grabbed by your dance. And that doesn't happen very often to me. I'm the sort of person, if you take me to, let's say, an art gallery, I don't know what to look at. And even with the dancing, I was like, okay, she's doing ballet. I know it's super difficult. Like you say, ballet is the one where you have to make it look effortless, even though it hurts so much. If you've ever seen ballerinas' feet, it's like, oh God, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But for
I still
some
have
reason, your
my
dance,
I still
I
have
would
like my ballet
imagine.
feet.
Okay. But your dance for some reason grabbed me, and that's why I asked you to interview, just because for some reason I thought I would resonate with you. And even just the way you are describing your thought process, I can relate to that a lot, because I often, always have so much going on in my head. And I find it very difficult sometimes to language it to someone in a way that's not overwhelming for them. And sometimes I don't know if you found this. Sometimes you can just sit with someone who gets it, and you don't really need to say anything, and you know they get it. And then there's other people that you sit with them, and no matter how much you try and explain, it's not their fault, but no matter how much you try and explain, you just can never quite describe to them. And that's how I feel. So when you're saying all this, like, I would love to see that, like, around the world. I mean, I produced a book on mental health, but it was all, I'm looking forward over there, it's all text. And I love, like, I would really love to look at what you've done there and the thought process and the creative processes behind it. Because to release a magazine like that, there's the graphic design, you've got to get the images, you have to write the text, then you have to lay it all out, then you have to get it printed. Does it look right? Does it not look right? Then you adjust it and you do it again. This is probably why you never sleep, right?
I do sleep, and I sleep like very, very specific times. But I was so overwhelmed by, like, or touched by just how you described how you connected to it, because this is how I feel when I'm speaking to other individuals with different diagnoses. It's like when you meet somebody and you, for the first time, you have no idea they have a diagnosis or anything. I can see right through it. I feel like I connect with them completely. And it's not upon the time that they actually, like, open up to me and tell me about the diagnosis that I had any idea about it. But I was like, that's why.
Yeah.
So to be able to connect in that kind of way is definitely a wish for me. People, when they meet me, they're like, oh, you have everything under control. You seem like you know what you're doing with your life, and you're like going for it, and just everything. You have everything. And in reality, in my mind, I'm feeling, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just in charge of the outfits. I have no idea. I feel like my mind is chaos, but when I see people connecting with that chaos, I feel like I'm successful. That's what makes my success.
Yeah, it's funny because you're describing, I was going to say chaos as well, because sometimes I feel like my brain, I don't have any diagnosis. I think I told you that I've been depressed, pretty badly depressed on a couple of occasions. I don't have any sort of diagnosis, but it's so weird because the way you described your brain and how it works and how everyone else thinks you have everything under control. And then when they tell you, that's like, oh, you're amazing, Cecilie. You know, you got all this, you created this magazine, it's under control. Like, and then you're going like, I don't know how it happened. I was just doing it. Because that's when I released the book, like the 2 books I did at the end of last year, and it was 160 pageant queens. It was 1,600 pages, 2 books on Amazon. I did that in 2 weeks. You're not supposed to do it in 2 weeks. You're supposed to take months to plan, and then you do this. And I did it in 2 weeks. I was exhausted by the end of it. I don't recommend it. But it's so fascinating to me to hear someone else describe the way they think in exactly the way I think. So it's just like, I don't know if it's controlled. Is it controlled chaos? There's definitely chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
well, I was about to say to you, I'm not a person who diagnose people or tell them about what they should look up, but I'm just telling you that diagnosis as ADHD doesn't have to be the hyperactive form. There is a lot of different forms which result in how our thought patterns is like evolving. And the fact that you are thinking can hyper focus on something and develop it very intensely is like a symptom of it. And it's just like people don't realize how many people actually have ADHD because they expect it to be chaotic all the time, but it can be internalized chaotic. And
Yeah.
like for me, they never realized like that I had ADHD before I expressed how much chaos there was in my head, because people don't assume that a person who's just doing great and just try a little harder actually has something going in their mind that they don't know about.
Yeah.
So it might not need, people don't need a diagnosis to know
That's
that they
true.
work different. But
Yeah.
for some people, it's just important to have something to get a hold of, to like at least something to like work from. So not to be, a lot of people like collide with their diagnosis, but just knowing it can be like, okay, you can take it by the hand and become best friends instead of like fighting against these symptoms.
I think it would, if I was ever diagnosed with something, as you said, I don't need the diagnosis, but if I ever was, I think it would be more for me, would explain a lot, because I've always felt that my brain works quite differently. Like you created that magazine and I go, oh, that's an awesome idea. That's kind of exactly what I would like to do. Whereas other people look at it and they get overwhelmed by it. This is why they give you compliments, and, you know, that's lovely. Or it's always nice to get compliments, but they're like, oh, how did you do this? Like, I don't know how you managed to do it. Where do you start? And they ask all these questions, and they're reasonable questions. I don't know if people have asked you, and you're like, oh yeah, I went and did this, and then I had to do this, and then I had to do this. And then as you're explaining it, it's only then that sometimes at least I understand, wow, actually there were a lot of things I needed to, a lot of different skills, right? It wasn't one skill, produce a magazine. It's like, because you've done it all by yourself. And to be able to explain to someone all the different parts, it seems to overwhelm other people. Has that ever happened to you where you're trying to explain something that you've done and you can just see their brains just going like mind explosion?
Yes, it's often when I'm actually feeling, you know, the imposter syndrome, like where I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. When are people going to realize I actually don't know anything? And then when I actually like talk about what I do, I realize how much I know. Like, where did I develop this gift from? Where did I develop this thing from? How did I get the different how did I develop everything? How do I know all this stuff? And I realize it only as I'm teaching others. Like, oh, I know so many things. I can do so many things. And it's first there that I realize it, because imposter syndrome is always there. I'm just waiting around being like, when are they going to see me? When are they going to see for me? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it ever disappears. I think you just get better at handling it and not getting so upset by it. But no, to me, it's fascinating just because it seems like the way that you work and the way that I work seems so similar. That, as I told you, I've done probably close to 300 interviews now. I have to say that doesn't happen very often, like connecting with someone and go, oh, she works like I do. So I'm not the only crazy one. Because honestly, sometimes when you try and explain to, let's say, normal people how your brain works, like, I don't think I can. It's just, did you ever see the TV show Sherlock Holmes? Just out of interest.
And
did you see the one that had Benedict Cumberbatch in it, the TV series?
So many times.
When they visualize, right? That show for me, when they visualized on screen how his brain works, I'm like, that's me. It was so weird when I saw that. I was so happy, but those are my favorite scenes. It's like, oh my God, this guy, his brain works like me. It's these pictures, it's formulas, it's all this. Did you connect with that as well?
I did. And it was part of the reason I realized I had synaesthesia. I had no idea what synaesthesia was. I thought that everybody was like, all senses was just mashed up. I thought that was what everybody saw. Like when they saw something, they had a certain smell, and when they like felt something, they could hear it. I had no idea that it was just my wonky little brain doing its thing. It was actually, I think it was at that point, but it was firstly at like I had an exam at one point, and I was explaining. I made a logo, and I was explaining the feel of the logo was like the sound you hear inside your head when you're like caressing an armchair, like an old wooden armchair. So it's like that heavy kind of sound, and I was like expressing it very like thoroughly. It was like, this is the sound it should make. This is the sound this logo has. And they were like, this logo has a sound? I'm sorry, what? Can you, what? And I was like, did I fuck up? Did I do something? Did I say something wrong? And they were like, please explain, because they didn't understand. And I was like, that is when I realized, okay, I'm thinking very, very weirdly. So I watched especially Sherlock Holmes and Benedict Cumberbatch in actually multiple of his works. Yeah. And the way he was always portrayed was this weird mind. And in the community, we call it neurodivergence. So you have not a neurotypical mind, but a neurodivergent mind. Yeah. And the way he saw things was the way I experience things when I walk like throughout the day. I smell a certain thing and I think of something. I get reminded of things. And if I see a certain color, I get overwhelmed because it's very strong, or like everything gives me such big like nervous, not like nervous, but like in nerves, overwhelming feeling. Yeah. And it was really eye-opening to realize my brain is weird. This is not what normal people see. Yeah. But I took it as a gift. I was like, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. And how are they missing out on everything like this? How can they live without it?
It's funny because a lot of people, when they find out that they're not typical, as you said, for them it's very upsetting, and I can understand that. But I don't know if you're similar to this, but I've always been the other way round, where I've looked at, well, if you're different, that's actually a good thing. Even when it comes down to something as simple as marketing or sales, they keep telling you, oh, you got to find, your unique selling proposition. What makes you different? Your USP. So I've always found that if there's something different about me, I've always enjoyed that. Like, I mean, look at me, I'm wearing a white suit, I've always enjoyed that. Are you similar? Like are you proud of your differences? You see it as a gift rather than seeing it as a curse?
Absolutely. Right. And that's all white. Like the magazine itself, it was like, I can even like said it's like Beauty and Pain and Misfits, like reclaiming that name who was usually used in like a negative way, when I was like, I'm a misfit. Like, this is good. This is something different. This is something that really nurtures my soul. So like reclaiming, like, and making, like, it says Beauty and Pain, seeing that there's such a beauty in this way we express ourselves, and like the way that it can be such a useful tool if you know how to work with your body and not against it. Like actually ADHD was a mutation in our brain back when we were hunter-gatherers. So if in this time period we were going toward gatherers, and that is how our population evolved. But had we worked again towards developing as hunters, ADHD was one of the initial mutations to heighten our senses. So it's a mutation where it was supposed to evolve us in a higher proposition. So being like a higher being. And that is what I'm like telling myself, I was supposed to be a hunter.
So basically what we're saying is that if we ever wanted to be mastermind criminals, like the ones that Sherlock Holmes hunts, or a detective, we would be excellent sort of consulting detectives or hunters because our brains work differently.
Yeah. Like my day-to-day job is a creative consultant, because I go in and I see stupid things that others don't see. Like my job, what I get booked to do is usually go in and think differently, think stupid, think dumb thoughts. Like I have to think outside of the box. And when people have a like have a very typical mind, they're often set in these boxes and they're expecting to think a certain way, whereas my mind is like completely everywhere else that it's supposed to be. I see different things.
It's not exactly everywhere else, because I was trying to figure out a way to tell people what I do with pageant coaching, because for me, it's not coaching. For me, I was thinking about the Sherlock thing, how he says he's a consulting detective. Moriarty said he's a consulting criminal. And for me, that I was going to call myself a pageant consultant, but people have no idea what that means. Because when I have a coaching session with someone, my brain takes all these different routes without me thinking about it. And then I always come up with some sort of solution that really helps my client, but it's not, I can't explain really the steps as to how I got there. And the thing is, it's all based on intuition. I don't know, similarly to yourself, it just feels very strong, like this is what we should do. And then other people see it and go, oh, wow, that's amazing. How did you come up with it? And then you have to go, I have no idea. I just thought this was the right thing. Does that happen to you as well?
Yes, and I actually tried to study it. So in correlation to ADHD, our brains is often like different thought patterns. So we have different patterns going on at the same time. And it's if you have ever heard about string theory, it's like you know it, the way the knots, it's the knots and the imperfections that connects the string theory in whole. So this is our brain waves, and the way we hop between these different things is we associate different things from hypersensitivity. So we jump from one thing to another to associate it. So instead of seeing a problem as it is, we're setting it into another universe and seeing it as another mass, another materialism. So it's taking something like out of context and sitting in a different situation. And that is how we keep doing things. That is also why often, I don't know if you ever did this, but you can have the same conversation with this person, switch over and switch back without losing track of your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that's normal until I realized people go what? I keep saying this because what you just identified with string theory, there's another term for it with marketing. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called cross-pollination.
It's
right. It's when you take the experience from another industry and everyone go, that's completely unrelated. But you go no, I've got sales and marketing, I've got computers, I've got tennis coaching, I've got my violin, I did well in school, and then I bring it all to pageant coaching. And I feel like it all works together. But a lot of people, when you do your resume or your, for a job, if you ever wanted to do one, I'm not saying do one, but people go, oh, what's your work experience? Or what's your education? And then when you write all these different things, people go, oh, that means he has no focus, she has no focus, or he's indecisive, she hasn't decided what she wants to do. I'm like, no, that's your way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And that's what was always impressed onto me. It's like, oh, you have to just do one thing. But I mean, I can't. That's not it's not the way my brain works. And I think it misses out a lot. You want to bring, at least in my mind, all the experiences from all the different things you've done in life and bring it to here and now and let's see what we can do.
Absolutely. I love the way of thinking. Even when I was studying my AP degree, I was simultaneously a restaurant manager because I was like, oh, I learned so much from this. And I was like, but I can do this at the same time. And afterwards of that, I had a period where I was apprentice in a tattoo shop. And I was like, this art form is so cool. And I was like, I had to try everything because just the way of experiencing things and just Like, I have to like swallow up all this information. I can use this someday. I get hyper focused on learning.
I'll give you a silly example of how hyper focused I get. I became obsessed with cooking, like really, really obsessed. And I became specifically obsessed with learning how to poach an egg, because to poach an egg,
that's an
you need to
art
crack it
form.
into the, okay. And like I was watching like Gordon Ramsay, Heston Blumenthal, this is how you do it. And it comes out and it's so perfect. And I was like, I can't do it. I break the egg and I break the yolk, or I overcook it, undercook it, or I put it in the bowl and it goes everywhere. So I got an entire carton of eggs one day. And it was just, I didn't plan this. It wasn't like in my to-do list, buy a whole carton of eggs. I got 12 eggs and I just sat there poaching 12 eggs in a row because I was so determined to be able to do this. And by the end I was able to do it. But everyone looks at it like, why? Like, why did you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I had to. I needed to figure it out.
Do you sometimes have it like, if you lose one thing that is not essential for your working every day, if you lose that one thing, you can like do anything before finding that. Yeah, you get super obsessed. Everything is.
If I can't remember the lyrics to a song, or I can't remember why that sounded familiar,
a certain word.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't think of anything else. And I had to tell people, like, I'm sorry, I can't do this right now. I'm trying to remember what the lyrics to this song are. But the funny thing is, when I try to remember, I don't know if you do this, but when I try to remember the lyrics to a song, I just start saying random words that are very weird. They're very weird, right? And they're like, what are you saying? Like, and then you say a weird word, and then you go, oh, hang on. And then you suddenly remember it. Yes. And everyone's going like, why are you saying these weird words? It's because I don't know why. When I say this weird word, say that weird word, then I was like, oh, then I remember what I was thinking about.
And that is so stupid. I do the same thing, but I do it like taste-wise, because a word tastes like something. So if I know what taste the word has, I'm like saying the words that has the same taste or the same like differentiation. I get to that word. And it's
right. Okay, that might explain it. Well, no, it makes sense to me. What? Yeah, if you were looking from the outside, people are like, what are you saying? Like, why are you saying that word? Like, I'm trying to remember the words to this song, and I'll just say random
tasting a word. Next time you're just saying, I'm tasting a word.
Well, that would actually make a lot of sense if those words that I was saying, those nonsense words, were actually located for some reason in the same portion of the brain or triggering some sort of similar response. Then physically that would actually make a lot of sense.
Don't you think they have? There must be something like in your subconscious that is like getting you to say these things. The next time you have like this episode, be like, okay, why is this word? Like, write them down. Why is this word coming to me? What feeling is it giving me? Because for me, it's very, very specific, like taste, the way it feels in my mouth. It's just that.
It could be. I think at a certain point, I've given up trying to work out why am I different?
Yeah.
Because I think that's maybe a conversation for like your creator, whatever you believe in. And I feel sometimes trying to figure it, like, why am I different, is not as useful as just embracing it and going, well, look, I don't know why I'm different. I don't know why I'm this way. I know I'm this way, and I'm going to accept it, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it as a strength rather than going, oh my. Exactly. Because I mean, I can laugh at myself. Like, I laugh at myself all the time. So I don't take myself seriously at all. And it's just, I know I'm different.
I think I'm still at that point where I'm like learning. Everything, like every opportunity I have, I'm like, okay, analyze this. How can this be that I think this way? That is also why I, like, every week I try to read a new book about psychology or something about communication, and this way we work in our brains. So, like, I'm still trying to figure out, why is this connection in my brain? Because I also want to, like, teach it. So if I can learn it for myself, maybe I can portray it in some way. I can tell you
it would be very difficult, though, if you're talking about trying to teach it to someone who thinks neurotypically. as I said, when I try and explain it, I don't know if you've had this experience, but it's overwhelming. You can just see and it's not that they're stupid; they're very intelligent people, but you can just see they don't understand it. I'd say it's like trying to explain what a sunset or a sunrise looks like to a blind person.
Or fifth dimension.
You can't do it. Exactly.
You can't see it, but you know when it crosses, when like a third dimensional object crosses second dimensionally, you can see the imprint it makes, but you cannot understand the way it evolves in this world. So I know the feeling, and it's just so frustrating. But I'm just like, what if I can explain this, then I can like maybe have some peace in it. Maybe I'll just get older and be like, okay, it's enough, Cecilia. You're just
you know,
curly.
You talked about virtual reality. Maybe that will help. When you can finally immerse someone in, let's say, a different reality, maybe at that time. I think it's very difficult in words, but maybe with VR.
For me, it's very important when developing this virtual reality suit that is actually in my plans. It has to be like immersing every single sense that we have. It has to be smell, it has to be some kind of taste, or in some way, like you have to be fully immersed in this reality. It's not also like a pressure suit that is like vibrating or puncturing like this place it feel when you have like an anxiety attack or something like that. And the vision, it has to correlate in so many ways, because like seeing it on screen is not the same as in sensing it. Like when you get touched, the way you feel it on your body, it has to completely adhere to the body and like compress the body in this reality. I want when people take it off, be like, this is what it feels like.
Yeah.
If they're not taking that breath, like they had a second life, I didn't do it right.
Well, that sounds like something else. Cecilie, we've been talking for almost an hour. I don't think we've talked about pageants at all, and we haven't looked at the comments. So sorry guys in the comments. So Ralph here, I think at the beginning, said good afternoon. Anya has said great interview, enjoying it very much. And she's also said, I would like to contribute to the magazines. Cecilie, you know that. And she said that I can shoot the images for you. I normally begin my interviews with this. So let me just quickly ask you, how did you get into pageantry? Because I feel like I should ask it. We haven't talked about pageantry at all. How did you get into pageantry?
So right after my diagnosis, actually, I saw an ad for the Miss Denmark competition. And I was like, this is it. This is how I reclaim my odd brain. This is how I feel represented. This is how I create like a representative of these feelings I have and these unresolved issue. This is how I reclaim my diagnosis. So going into it with a very specific cause of mental health and how we can develop it in the society we have right now. And that was the whole cause behind me participating. It's not like, hi, I just want to look pretty, because I know it's more than that. It's in Denmark, we have like, it's called skønhedskonkurrence, which is almost the same as saying beauty. It's beauty competition, but it sounds like skønhed or kønhed. So it's like beauty and then prettiness. So distinguishing these two and showing that beauty is not just prettiness and has to be so much more to actually have an impact. That is what actually like made my heart beat for it more.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So Miss Earth Denmark is your first. Is it your first pageant?
No, actually not. I participated in the national Miss Denmark in 2017. Then I had
Okay.
a very uncomfortable experience with the Miss Europe Continental, which is a horrible
yes.
organization. Yeah,
Yeah.
we all
You
know
know how I
about
feel
that.
about him.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then I was in Miss Queen of Europe. Got to
Mhm.
top 10, which was really exciting, and got to talk on live television about mental health. I was so overwhelmed by that. I was like, this is what I work for. I don't care about the crown. The fact that I'm on national
Yeah.
television right now speaking about this, I'm good. I'm good. And now this.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot. Cecily, we should go to the final 10 questions. Otherwise, we'll be here all day. I feel like I could talk to you all day. Just before we do the final 10 questions, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to or say thanks to for supporting you in your journey?
Oh, there's so many people.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this and this and this.
Everyone.
Well, I think everything started with my mother. She's been experiencing mental disorders most of my life, and it impacted a lot of my years growing up. So it was for her my passion started. I don't know how to thank the way she's been handling my diagnosis as well, because our diagnoses are very different, but the way she taught me that my brain is functioning and how it looks and how it's accepting is absolutely relieving. And it was a big inspiration for me to being able to put that into words and like visualize it and so on. Then I had so many great people as Lars Fink and Anja Ekström, as also has written in the comments, who's been like supporting my curly mind throughout this process. Like people who is nurturing that part of me is the people I really want to say thank you to. They don't only see me as the person I am, they nurture it. The way that they love it and love my quirkiness and my uniqueness is what makes me walk every day on this earth and being like, I'm so great at this. I'm so great at being this quirky being. And it gives me so much love that I just like, see me for who I am, and is nurturing it, not like dulling it down or something like, but like really getting me powered for it. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Well, I love the way your mind works because it reminds me so much of the way my mind works. I didn't think I'd ever find someone like that. Certainly not through a pageant interview, but there you go. Even after doing 300, there's a first time for everything. Anyway, let's go through these final 10 questions.
Yeah.
And let's see what we can come up with. They're just random questions, okay?
Okay.
So question 1, what is your favorite word?
Oh, one more time.
What is your favorite word?
Misfit. Misfit all the way.
Oh, I love it. Question 2, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word. No.
I can even
or
see
can't. If can't one word. So can't.
Yeah.
Can't or no. That is least favorite.
I can see the emotion on your face. Even when you say the word no, you stop smiling. It's like, no. No.
I hate it.
I can see that on your face. Okay, question 3. In life, what gets you excited?
Oh, everything. Everything. I was once asked for what is my favorite weakness, and I'm like, I love that this was like its favorite weakness. I get so easily excited about everything, and I cannot control my excitement, and I'm not willing to do it because excitement should be enjoyed in all its power. It shouldn't be dulled
Mm.
or hold down. So like if something really excites you, don't suppress it. Like live it, feel it, let it lift your spirit. Like that is what we live for. So everything. I get excited of everything. Like the dumbest, stupidest, smallest things. I get so excited.
Yeah, I know what that's like. Okay, so that question is what excites you or what turns you on. So the next question might be difficult then. What turns you off?
Negativity.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was an easy one.
Like people like in Danish we have a saying, or I don't know where I heard it, but I always say it. It's very, very it's bad to have your neck hanging if you're standing in shit to the throat. It's really weird saying, but it's like
That's a very
you
weird
can have
saying.
the worst things happening in your life, and you can still choose to be happy. Do you know the philosophy behind Schrödinger's cat?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You choose the happiness and you choose to see the negativity. You can choose how it affects you. You can expel it from your life, like by mentally saying the negativity doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, negativity is the one thing that turns me off.
This is the first interview I've done where we've ever talked about Schrödinger's cat.
And string theory and Schrödinger's cat.
Oh, dear me. Okay. Question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
Laughter. I love it. Like, I can like when people laugh and I can hear it comes from the stomach and up, I'm just like, I can melt inside. I'm just like, oh.
It's funny I've had a lot of time to think about my answers to this question, and I've got to agree with you on that one. You know, the one when you're laughing so much that no noise comes out.
There's no noise.
You can't breathe anymore. And the other day I was laughing about something that was so stupid, and I was snorting, and then I was laughing because I was snorting, so then I was snorting more. It was terrible. I couldn't stop.
It makes me think of my mom, because every time she is laughing that she cannot breathe, she is like literally there is no noise. But looking at her, you could feel like you're deaf because it looks like she's screaming.
Yeah.
And like tears running down her cheeks. Oh, I love it. I love it every day. I could have it every day.
Dear me. Yeah, that's what we need to do in this world. We need to laugh more.
Yes.
Question 6. What sound or noise do you hate?
Well, I get very easily overstimulated because of my autism.
Mm-hmm.
And if the bass is at a certain frequency,
right,
my whole body hurts. So it's like, it's so overwhelming for my nervous system that it feels like every muscle is tightening, and I can't do anything. I get like my muscles in my back is already tightening just for thinking about it. Yeah. So I have a hard time going to concerts if I don't have like headwear and headgear, headphones or something that can dull the sound. So yeah, a very special frequency of like bass. It's unfortunate because I really love music, and I love certain artists that I would love to see live, but I can't go and fully enjoy. And it's really sad, but yeah. My record player right here is okay for me. It's great. Oh yeah, I love the sound of a record player. The sound and the like vintage vibe.
An actual record player that with a needle. We're not talking about a CD player. We're talking about an actual vinyl. Oh my God. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I am a vintage person. Like, I'm just like getting in all my. If we can see.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's where we're going. I see how this works. Oh, that's amazing. I did not expect you to have a a vinyl player down there.
Well,
There's
if you
nothing.
had seen the rest of my living room, it's like Chesterfield sofas. I have like, you can even see my fireplace, and
Yeah.
like there is old vintage photos all up on the walls. I really want to like, can I? Oh, kind of
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
That is like everything to me. The vintage feel is just, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's like anything. It's like tactility. There's such a feel about vintage stuff that is like, you can feel it. You can, I just thinking about it, I can feel it in my hands.
It's different. I was telling someone else that because I play violin. I played violin since I was 2, and one day I wanted to get a new violin, and I went to the violin shop, and they let me use a violin that was 200 years old. It was made in like the 1780s, and I tell people just looking at it and holding it, it just felt different because you don't know how many people, like how many stories are inside that violin, and just playing it, it just felt so different. I can't really explain it, but I know what you mean. It had a lot of history.
From you telling me that, my feeling like that my hands is like tingling from like, I think I know what you were telling me. I'm just like,
you look inside the violin, and it normally has a sticker on it that says when it was made, and it was like 1780 something, and you're like, oh my God, like it just, you don't want to play it because you feel like you're not worthy of it. It's like some sort of, I don't know, movie. It's like, Thor's hammer or something, he who should be worthy, like he should be worthy will play this violin and have the power of a god of violins. Anyway, speaking of Thor, question 7 is, if you could have any one superpower, what would you pick and why? Okay, here we go.
I know it. So I've thought about this many times. It's an immense theory for me. I would want the power to fill things that were empty. So filling things up, like rivers, fridges. But also it can be used for like, your wallet also, if it's empty. But also, if there's a person in the room that you really, really don't like, fill their bladder again and again and again and again. That's a perfect gift.
Oh, dear me. Oh, well, if I had a glass of gin or a glass of red wine or beer, that would be very useful as well. Just never ending. Never ending.
Beer.
Oh, okay. That's an unusual superpower. Question
but it's so
8.
useful.
Now that I think about it, yes. And now that I think about it, it makes me want to go in peace. So I'm going to stop thinking about it. Question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I think I tried everything I really wanted. I'm a doer. So if I'm like, this is like, I have butterflies in my stomach about this thing, I'm doing it. There's nothing that is stopping me from doing it. I'm just evolving into photography right now, buying way too much photography gear. But it's like, if it gives me butterflies, I'm going to do it. So I don't know what I should choose because I'm already doing everything I want.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe politician. I could make some things happen, maybe. It could be nice for once.
Okay. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
Politician. I feel like
answer for both questions. Which one do you really want to try? Politician. Which one do you really not want to try? Politician.
I think what's holding me from politics is like, I feel that there's too much talking and too little doing.
Yeah.
It's complete. I would hate to be in that situation. I wanted to do the things, but I hate to actually come to the conclusion to do these things. Because I'm like, okay, this is like, this is how we calculate things. This is the facts. This is what we need to do about it.
Yeah.
But
let's do it.
So many politicians about like, oh yeah, but how if we maybe get things done?
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Like when it's obvious to do something, it's like, let's do it. Like there's no point talking about it anymore. Let's just do it. Okay, here we go. Final question. We made it. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
What up, cutie? How you doing? No. No.
What do you mean?
I don't
know. What up, cutie? How are you doing? And God has never sounded so sleazy. He's like a cheap pickup artist at the bar. Hey, cutie, what's up? Me.
Like, if that is what God says to me, I know it's a man. I know it's a man. Then I will know that God is a man. No. Oh, damn. Because I don't think I can find any funnier answer than that.
No. We can just leave it at that if you want. The final answer.
What a curious.
I like that answer. I mean, yes, I said you don't want to take life too seriously. So it'd be nice, you go. I like to think whenever you get up there, it's like you're going to have a lot of laughing. Because as we already said, laughing is the best thing ever. That. So yeah, you want a lot of it in heaven.
Wait, I know what I wanted him to say.
Okay.
It's okay. I know you tried hard. If he said that, it's okay.
I prefer the funny answer. So we're going to go with the funny answer for final answer.
Go back to that.
Because a lot of people, they get to that question and they want to give it a serious answer. So I prefer the funny answers. Anya has said, Cecilie, love you for you. Lottie has said, hey, beauty, you're doing good. And Stacey, who's over in America, pageantry now, has said, great final answer, lots of laughs. Well, Cecilie, it's been fun. It's been a ride. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for all the laughs I had today.
Yeah, I have a few tears coming up. Happy tears. As I said, I'll keep you on the line whilst I hang up with the audience, so don't go anywhere. Thanks to everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Sorority Access is now open, so if you'd like to join an amazing group of women and learn how to be the most powerful, confident, and impactful queen possible, head to thepageantsorority.com. I'll see you there and see you in the next video.